Welcome to JMR Talks. Today we will discuss about trust, why trust matters in the workplace. As we know, whether it is a friendship or a family relationships, business or personal partnerships, the bond is built on what called trust. No trust and no bond. Now, what is trust? The dictionary meaning of the trust is assured reliance on the character, the ability, and the strength or truth of someone or what call something. That means when somebody says something, what call you rely on that. But the question arises as to why trust matters at the workplace. Trust helps in improving the teamwork, collaboration. It improves organizational alignment, ensures efficiency, engagement, and productivity. When you look at what we call employees across the organization, we find that 96% of the engaged employees they trust management, whereas only 46% of the what we call disengaged employees they what we call they trust. So that shows how important to have or to enjoy the trust of what we call employees. When a manager empowers his people, his associates, his mates, it enhances the decision making. And when there is a trust at the workplace, it decreases the stress and the burnout at the workplace. It has been found that those who what we call enjoy the trust, they are 74% less stress and 40% what we call less burnout. Trust also helps to what we call improving loyalty and retention. In fact, according to Accenture survey, that workplace where trust is there, the employees are 2.5 times like less likely to what we call leave the organization as such. Another important benefit of is that benefit of trust is that you can overcome the resistance to change. When there is a trust, people voluntarily they support the organizational initiatives for any change. Another benefit of having trust at the workplace is it improves innovation and creativity. Fine. So building trust at the workplace what we call matters. According to the global CEO survey of what we call PwC, 55% of the CEOs what we call they feel that the lack of trust is a threat to the organizations, their survival or what we call growth. So when the trust matters so much for an organization performance and all that, so what is that what we call that needs to be done? Encourage employees share of voice. Let them what we call share what we call their opinions, their suggestions. Like in one of the videos I mentioned that when Maruti Suzuki invited employee suggestions, they could save by implementing those suggestions about 220 crores as such. Second, better company culture. Long back, the father of modern management said that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So, encourage what we call openness and transparent what we call open employee communication. According to IBM survey of 1700 CEOs in 64 countries and 18 industries, the companies which outperformed what we call others, it was found that openness had a what we call key influence on employee productivity or what we call satisfaction. Sharing information. Now this reminds me of what I call Singareni experience. There is one state company called Singareni Coal. At one point of time the company was about to be referred to what I call BFR. Then the HR department with the coordination and cooperation of the line managers, top management, etc. They came with a what I call suggestion because earlier there used to be what I call strike at the top of the hat that was affecting the productivity as such. So this group or this committee they went to what I call workers colonies, shared the information about the what I call company's performance, how it is steering at handing over the what I call company for liquidation and all that. Now that brought a what I call positive change, and employees when they started putting their best efforts, and Singareni Congress what I call did the turnaround. And I was told recently the state government has declared bonus to the what I call employees of Singareni. So involve, inform, and inspire with your what we call transparent employees communication so that they perspire. Next, foster peer-to-peer communication. Let communication what we call flow freely. The next and the most important is authentic and approachable leadership. Now, it's very very important that CEOs in general and the managers in particular they must be what we call available to the what we call people as such. In fact, according to Edelman survey, 71% of the CEOs they feel that it's critical for the CEOs or the managers to respond or talk to what we call employees. According to a Harvard Business Review study, three key factors that drive trust in what we call leadership: consistency, good judgment, and positive relationships. When there is disconnection between the words and the action, what is said and what is being practiced, the result will be less engaged and less committed worker employees. So what does that need to be done? You create a sense of purpose, a purpose which is what called compelling. Like when I visited Dr. Reddy's laboratories, I found what called a tagline: the medicines you produce cures the diseases. The next, human-centric approach and enhancing employee empowerment. Daniel Pink, in his great book The Drive, he says autonomy is one of the principal motivational element as such. That's all fine here, but what is the issue? Why we are talking about trust? According to Edelman Trust Barometer 2022, which covered about 36,000 people, 28 countries, two-thirds of the people they distrust this organization, their organization. Now, on the one hand, we are saying that when there is trust, there is less stress, less burnout. People, give their best, they're engaged and they're committed. But now, as per this survey, two-thirds of the people they are what I call, they distrust, their organization or they don't trust. Now, what is the key? The key is transparency and two-way communication. You are transparent in your work transactions, in sharing the information. The communication flows not only from top to bottom, but bottom to top. You are not only giving the feedback, but you are also taking the feedback for improving what we call the overall performance. Joseph Grenny and Derek Kalimor of Creative Learning, they have done a what we call study. What they found is that the toxic manager or unethical corporate behavior is resulting or making the people not turning to HR when they have certain issues to what we call resolve. Employees are feeling that HR is focusing more on complaints, and in the process, it's becoming an employer advocate. Instead of acting as a what we call bridge between the management and what we call the employees, it has become more of a what we call complaints, this thing, and employer advocate. So they suggest three ways to win back the trust of the employees: coaching, mentoring, and what we call becoming a mediator. They have studied about 993 employees, and according to them, whenever an employee has an issue, first of all, he will talk to what we call his friends, to some other thing, but some manager and all that. But as a last resort, he is coming to what we call HR to get his what we call issues, resolved, because they feel that HR has become more of reactive and what we call compliance. So unless until they become what we call transparent, they become what we call employee advocate, it's very difficult to win the trust of the employees. In fact, they are not even turning to what we call their managers for getting resolved their issues. Why? Because 47% of them they don't feel safe as such. So let's look at the three ways to win back the trust, as suggested by Joseph Grenny and Derek Kalimur of Creative Creations. Number one, advocate as a coach. You coach the employees to have difficult conversation, be it with their own manager or be it with what we call other managers, or maybe among the what we call the employees themselves. Second, advocate as a mentor. Unresolved interpersonal conflicts will be there. They add to the what we call the stress and the burnout of employees. So let HR act as a mentor, mentoring the what we call the line managers as well as the what we call employees. The third, advocate is what we call mediator. Sometimes the HR might have to what you call, don the role of what you call mediator. So when the HR, does coaching, mentoring, and acting as a mediator, I'm not only sure, nay confident that they'll be able to what you call win the trust of employees, and employees keep coming to what you call HR to get their what you call issues resolved. And winning the trust or earning the trust of employees is very 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 important, because once HR becomes a trusted employee advocate, they get key insights into their operationals and what other behavior as such, which will help them a lot in devising the what required initiatives mechanism for improving employee engagement, so that employees feel satisfied and they gave what their best to the organization. Thank you.